All right, guys, it's the holiday market in the Lowcountry of South Carolina. Today, we're coming to you with local data on what's been happening through the end of November, some pretty impressive statistics. And the other thing we're going to talk about is how are you going to strategically get ahead of a misconception in our marketplace about the spring market. So let's get after it. All right, everybody, we are coming to you here in December. Boy, it's the end of 2025. We're so excited, Chris. It's been a big year for us to report on what's been happening in the Lowcountry. And so to kind of bring things up to speed right now, we got two things we want to talk about. Let's bring you up to speed on data through the end of November really quickly. And then we want to talk about why you might not want to think about waiting too long into 2026 to get involved in the market. So let's talk about the November data first. Listings were down about 7% in November, which is understandable, right? It was Thanksgiving time. People just were thinking maybe not the best time to come to market, but pending sales were up 7%. So a lot more activity in November than the previous November of 2024. And closings were just about dead even, down 1% or so from what we were in November 2024. The days on market was really what was telling. That jumped it from 57 days on market average, what closed in 2024, to 138 days for what closed in November of 2025. So what we see is that cumulative drive of those houses that were sitting on the market a little bit longer, but then getting absorbed, right? And then the sales price to list price ratio, that negotiating factor on average actually dropped in November, first time below 97%. It's still above 97% year to date, 97.3 or something. Now, again, we always go back. COVID, it was over 100%. So we've just seen it inching down, inching down, inching down as we get into this balanced market, which is now, I think, a 4.2, 4.3 month supply of inventory, right in the middle of a balanced market. So that's where we are, kind of swinging right into December. And of course, stay tuned because in January, we're going to be doing our year-end wrap-up and give you all the stats for the whole year. What we want to talk about is addressing this misconception. Whenever I'm in front of an audience, Chris, whenever I'm teaching at a downsizing workshop or a home seller workshop or talking to anybody, say, hey, raise your hand. What's the best time of year to sell your house? And everybody says springtime. And I'm like, no, the market is active before that, et cetera. And I think the same misconception sometimes applies with buyers. They're thinking, the Lowcountry, it's got to be quiet during the January, February market, et cetera. We want to go at that today, as sometimes we've done before, just talk about maybe some things to consider if you are a potential buyer or seller thinking about January, thinking about February. So Chris, let's kick that off. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Why should people be thinking about maybe being engaged in those first 2 months of the year versus waiting for the March or traditional spring market?
Well, you can look at it from a seller perspective and or a buyer perspective. Let's start maybe with a seller, how a seller looks at it. A seller's kicking around the idea of coming to market and they're like, we'll just wait till the new year, wait till spring. What does that do? A couple things. One, well, first of all, in the first 2 weeks of December, we've already had 177 pending sales in our just local market.
In December.
Just 2 weeks in December. So
right. That's a primary distraction month.
Yeah, that speaks. There's buying and selling that's taking place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if you're a seller, there's a couple things to think about. If you wait until the spring market, what are you waiting for? You're waiting for your competition to get on the market.
Right.
So if they get on the market before you, then what do you have to do? You have to react to that, as opposed to leading kind of where you want to be. If you're on the market before your competition comes on the market, they're going to play off of you a little bit,
right?
Okay, as opposed to you playing off of them. So that's one key thing. Is it helps you kind of identify where you want to be, and you have less competition out of the gate.
Right. So you can maybe set the market as opposed to responding to the market in some regard, right?
Reasonably.
Yeah.
Reasonably. You're not tricking anybody, and that's not the reason to do it. But if you think about it, if you wait until somebody else comes on the market, if they're a better property and all of a sudden they decide to position here, then you kind of have to play off of that.
But let's switch that over to the buyer side, though, because I think sometimes sellers figure, well, there's not going to be any market activity in January. And what we've always said, and guys, we've said it year after year after year, is that January is our bellwether month. Typically, what happens in January is the best indicator for how the year is going to go. And people say, wow, how is that possible? Well, typically after that first hangover week of January, then things really get rock and rolling. It's the new year. People are geared up. They're making plans, etc. So sellers should not be thinking that coming on in January or even February is some sort of dead market and lost time, or you're going to accumulate days on market with no benefit.
Right. And I mean, buyers, if I were a buyer right now, I'd get excited to kind of start my shopping. We see buyers that hit the market in the wintertime. Maybe they're more serious. At least they appear to be more serious.
Sure.
They're not just out there kicking tires. They're not just out there on here for spring break or whatnot and kind of going around and shopping for fun. I mean, if you're shopping for real estate in January, you're ready to buy.
So the other aspect of what we're looking for with regard now, switching back to sellers is, and this is a benefit potentially to buyers, is you get folks that didn't sell in 2025. They're still looking for their buyer. It's not to say they're highly motivated, but I tell you what, when you flip the calendar and now it's a new year, it's like, boy, we didn't get sold in 2025. We got to get sold in 2026. We need this to happen. So I'm thinking that buyers might find some benefit of identifying some, let's call it hangover listings, where they just haven't sold yet. They're a little bit more motivated, possibly, and they're ready to put a deal together.
Great point. I mean, you think about a seller mentality. They've been on the market all year or a good portion of the year. They just want to be sold by the end of the year. That means a lot. Now, as we transition into January and things, we talked about rentals and the snowbird rentals a minute ago, but think about this too. If you have an investment property, a rental property, or anything like that, January is a key buying month for your buyer, because what they want to, first of all, they can see the property. Second of all, they can engage their rental management group. Yeah. They can start marketing for the spring and the summer peak season. Yeah. But if they wait too long, they might not have all those options, and they might not even be able to see it because the place is rented.
Right, you're locked at that point. And by the time you get to spring, if it's an existing rental property, you're pretty well locked because you've got those future bookings that aren't going to be able to be moved, right? And you've got your manager that you're pretty well set with at that point. So thinking about a January, February purchase is nice because you might have some flexibility. You might be able to get some projects done. You might be able to reconsider what your strategy is for management, et cetera. So I love that idea, and a really strong reason to think about that. And then I guess the last thing I'm thinking about from a seller perspective is, if you are, even right now, you're thinking, okay, it's December, it's going to be early January, and your house isn't quite ready to be photographed. Maybe you don't take your decorations down for a while, or whatever the case is. Maybe you've been traveling, but you really want to get onto market to test the marketplace. Listing delay status in our MLS is a perfect answer for that, because you can go on without displaying all of the photography. You can even be in that for upwards of 30 days. So it's an opportunity for you to have some market exposure without necessarily being quote unquote fully ready to go to market because of photography or the condition of the house, et cetera.
Sure. And you can get ready for market too. Yeah. I mean, you've got time right now where you can kind of prep everything. You can get into that listing delay status. We've talked about the advantages of being in listing delay status. There are buyers shopping that listing delay inventory. And so even though the photography might not be ready, or you don't want to shoot because of holiday decor, yeah, you can still be out there.
Like that. We can do that quick in an instant. So guys, I guess that's our message is, if you're thinking about, you're looking ahead in the future, don't think like everybody else does, which is spring, spring, spring. Think taking advantage of that. Thinking about having some strategy, coming to market early, being a buyer early, and trying to come together with a deal that's going to work for you. And I tell you what, we sure are looking forward to 2026. We look forward to serving you and anybody into the new year. And as always, thanks for listening.